Folks, welcome to an all-new So Bad It's Good. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Thursday episode. We are doing a Valley recap. Whew, those crazy, I was about to say crazy kids, those crazy adults with kids in the Valley. Woo! Before that, though, we've got some Bravo breaking news. If you are a Bravo fan or a fan of reality television, today was potentially a good day because there was a slew of announcements. We're going to get to that whole thing in just a second, but I wanted to check in. How are you guys doing? Are you good? I mean, we talk every day, but I mean, you can tell me, are you good? It's all right if you're not good. It's all right. I mean, I've been up and down. You guys, I had a dentist appointment from hell today. And now I don't think this is going to shock anybody. I'm not big on dental care. I'm not big on dental care. And so it's always great when you go to a dentist and then they're like, hey, things aren't looking good. And so I have to go back to the dentist next week. There's some issue. This dentist took like 40 photos. I felt like I was in a headshot session for my teeth. And I was just like, there's nothing at this point. What are we going to do? I'm not going to get like big old fake turkey teeth. I've got like little chips. And anyways, it was a horrific appointment that I get to go back and do part 2 next week. Oh, guys, take care of your teeth. Hey, by the way, if you have kids, tell them or put them in front of the whatever you're listening to this on. Hey, this is Ryan. Hey, kids, I don't want you listening to the whole show because I'm going to curse and probably say some really off-color sexual things. But I'm here to tell you, take care of your teeth. Do everything that your parents told you to do because one day you're going to realize they were right. Not about everything, but about the stuff, like just about the gentle care of your body, like take care of your knees, all that bullshit. It just comes back to haunt you. And then what you're going to find out is you're going to end up podcasting. That's what's going to happen. Also, today is my first day back on my health journey. If you were watching this on YouTube, you got to see I was doing air quotes. I have started a health regimen. Don't laugh at me. Don't roll your eyes, but it is my first day. So it has been a little bit of a rough day. It's the first week I'm consulting a doctor doing this, but the first week is pretty intense because it is just vegetables. And my body is already upset by that. My body's like, wait, what did I do to you? I thought we were in this together. I thought it was like pizza time. And I had a beautiful dinner of braised cabbage for dinner. So I'm in a great mood, I'm in a great mood. Oh my God. But hopefully this will I'm just looking to get more energy and to be healthier overall. And me and my big fat podcaster ass, I'm looking to downsize. This is the year of Ryan. We just celebrated my birthday last week and now I gotta stay healthy. Get healthy. That's it. That's what it is. Okay. Enough of that BS. Oh, also, if you are not, go subscribe to our YouTube channel. We put up our Met Gala video yesterday, and I do want to apologize. I'm sure you as an audience as a whole agree with these comments, but I got a lot of comments saying, I never want to hear Ryan say the word panties again. And I'm sorry. What am I supposed to call them? I'm sorry that it's gross that I say panties. I'm sorry. Oh, I shouldn't have said panties right now. Girls' underwear, underpanties? What are we supposed to say? This, of course, was because Lisa from Blackpink at the Met Gala, she wore these, what looked like panties, and it had Rosa Parks on the panties. See, now I'm saying it too much again. On the underpants. Underwears. Underwear? Is that what we're going to go with? Anyways, I apologize for overly using the word panties. I'm just an artist trying to describe what somebody is wearing. Also, I do appreciate the people that realize that most of this show I do with a gigantic wink. And then some people take it so seriously, and I love that too. Like, that's actually kind of awesome. And it drives me to take it more seriously. But I'm like, I'm not sitting here in my everyday life saying panties all the time. Well, now I've just proven myself wrong. Okay, let's get to some good news, finally. Also, if you want to skip ahead to the Valley recap, there is a timestamp for that. So today we had huge Bravo news. Now, Bravo had been quiet for a minute in terms of like any new shows that were coming out or like any kind of, we heard rumors, speculation, but now they hit us with a huge announcement. And that is the Shaws of Sunset reboot that has long been rumored is officially happening. But it is not the name Shaws of Sunset. They have switched up the name. And I do want to say this has already started filming. So this is what you'll see with a lot of these announcements. And I don't just mean in reality television or Bravo. I mean movies or music. You know, if you follow these things like I do, you'll always notice like a movie announcement will be like so and so is added to the upcoming film, you know, has been cast in this film, and they'll release it, but it has already been known for like a month before that. They just haven't announced it publicly. So all of these, you know, Bravo is very secure in announcing because they are at various stages of active production. They already know where they're going with this. Now, there are a couple things that were left off this article and this announcement that I do believe, or that I know to be true, that are going to be happening. It just is not in this announcement. And it's going to take a little bit more time in states of development. And you guys, development is wild because everybody and their mother throws in their 2 cents, and an idea can really shift and change. And you're trying to get clearances on all of these things. It just seems like a gigantic mountain that you have to to climb to be able to actually have this product that we see, right? Okay, so this is from Kate Arthur, our friend Kate Arthur, the brilliant reporter over at Variety. She broke this news, and Bravo put it up on their Instagram as well. So Bravo, this is kind of a little in the weeds and stuff that you might not care about, but there is a company called Versant. And Versant is, or Versant or Versant, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, is the new name of a Comcast spinoff. So this is all under NBC Universal. NBC Universal. So the name of the parent company for the cable networks and other assorted media assets that will be spun off from NBC Universal and Comcast later this year will be Versant. So Comcast and NBC Universal last year split off, and there are a lot of changes that are made to certain cable organizations. And this actually is good news for Bravo because Bravo is the only NBC Universal cable network that the company isn't spinning off into Versant, which is incredible. So basically, it just means that NBC Universal really believes in the Bravo brand overall, and they're not going to give that up and put it over at Versant. And I believe Versant has things like exclamation point, right? But they're saying that Bravo has this unique success with its viewers, so much so that weirdos will make podcasts about the whole network. So they have had this much confidence that they have ordered a bunch of new shows to satisfy all of us Bravo heads, right? So they announced the Shaw's reboot. They announced also a brand new Real Housewives, the Real Housewives of Rhode Island. And before you be like, oh, why not Chicago? Why Rhode Island? You know what? All I care about at this point is if the casting is good. If it's friends that have been friends for a long time. That to me is what matters. It's the same kind of people scratching their heads when Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. It was like, why Salt Lake City? And then you see it and you're like, oh, perfect. So I trust them in that sense. Now, Real Housewives of Dubai, that was the last Real Housewives franchise that got announced and filmed, and unfortunately, that is now on pause. But Real Housewives of Rhode Island, I have nothing bad to say about this. I am very excited about this, right? So let's go through each of these announcements one by one. Also, they announced a new version of Ladies of London. And if you have never watched Ladies of London, oh my God, you are missing out. Go to Peacock immediately. Those seasons still they still work. And Caroline Stanbury, who went from Ladies of London and then to Dubai, unfortunately, she will not be in Ladies of London because it's going to be an all new group of ladies. Now, this is not to be confused with the Real Housewives of London, which was announced last year. But just so the American audience knows, is that the Real Housewives of London is specifically for Hey You, which is how a lot of people overseas get their Bravo shows. So it is not going to be on the American Bravo network. Now, I'm sure there will be some deal worked out. Maybe it'll be a Peacock exclusive. I don't know. But Ladies of London is ours, and Real Housewives of London is overseas. even though we're all one big happy family, right? The other show that they announced is Wife Swap, The Real Housewives Edition. So they have taken the beloved ABC franchise and they put some chocolate into the peanut butter and peanut butter into chocolate. And this is already heavily into production, and it is rumored housewives like Emily Simpson, Melissa Gorga will be participating, if not already participating in this show. And basically the premise of Wife Swap is they take, I don't know. See, what a little confuses me about this is it's like two housewives and we're swapping, or is it one normal family and one housewives family and then we swap there? Who knows? But I am here for it. My God, let's like do more other classic shows from other networks and spin them off into Bravo shows. This is what I want. I want Bravo Unsolved Mysteries. Ding, 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 ding. Maritza, if you're listening, we should make a clip of this. We need Bravo Unsolved Mysteries. I'll be Robert Stack. Yeah, I just cast myself. Whatever. I'm aspiring, and we have that badass Unsolved Mysteries music. And we just solved Bravo mysteries. Like, what the fuck did Jen Shaw actually do? Or who actually started the fight between... sorry. Who started the fight between Candace and Monique that one season of Real Housewives of Potomac? We can really get in there with Bravo Unsolved Mysteries. God, this is what my health kick. My newly health regime has, like, these brilliant ideas are just coming. But yeah, the Ladies of London it's going to be an entirely new cast. And there was no cast announced for the Real Housewives of Rhode Island, right? Today's announcement also talked about upcoming shows that are already shows that have been renewed, but we didn't hear anything about the Real Housewives of New York and the Real Housewives of New Jersey. I have it on good authority that the Real Housewives of New York is happening, but who knows? Maybe they're playing hardball. Maybe there's contract negotiations. I don't know, but that is what I'm hearing, that New York is definitely happening. And come on, let's be honest. New Jersey is not going anywhere. They might take another year off. I don't know, right? So this was a big press release. And they wanted to also let us know that the shows that have had the most watched seasons include season 5 of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, the current season of Summer House, and the third season of Breakout Southern Hospitality, and season 6 of The Real Housewives of Miami in terms of Peacock. So even if you don't think a show is doing good on Bravo proper on day and date, everybody is watching these shows on Peacock, and those specifically have had the best seasons over there, right? That is, to me, really good news because they never release streaming numbers. Now, they're making this announcement ahead of the NBC Universal upfronts on May 12th. And that is where a group of like advertisers, investors, all of these people sit in a big theater, and NBC Universal presents all of what they have to offer for advertisers to get people excited. So they'll have a whole Bravo section. They usually do some musical number, but they have a lot to talk about this upfront. So that's May 12th, which I'm excited for. I'm going to try to be able to watch that in some way and let you know everything that is happening. Now, let's go through the press releases that Bravo wrote for each show. We have The Real Housewives of Rhode Island. They wrote, set against the shores of the ocean state, the Real Housewives franchise expands into the world of a tight-knit circle of Rhode Islanders who have deep community roots and families that go back generations, which kind of reminds me a little bit of that Southern charm, right? With aspirational lives, thriving businesses, and tangled family dynamics, these decade-long friendships prove that in a state this small, there's no escaping your past, ... or each other. I swear to God, every time I read that, it makes it seem like somebody got murdered. They're like, there's no escaping what you did last summer. So this one is executive produced by Andy Cohen. That's really important. So Andy put his name on that, which means he gets some money. So he wants this to do good. Now, Ladies of London, they say, is back with a new wave of British blue bloods, ambitious American expats, and glamorous international socialites. As tradition clashes with the fast-paced globalized world, these power players redefine what it means to be a woman of status in one of the most iconic cities in the world. Here, connections are currency, and the crown isn't the only thing up for grabs. It's me, Lisa Vanderpump. Okay, now, The Valley Persian Style. That is the new working title for this Shaws of Sunset reboot. Now, I will say I've also heard another working title name for this already. I'm not going to reveal what that is, but I did know, and I had Alex Baskin on, the executive producer of the Valley Persian version, the Valley Persian style, is he did like off mic after we were done. I knew this was going to be called the Valley something, and that means we are expanding the reign of the Valley. That means really kind of a big thumbs up for how they believe in the Valley right now, which also then makes me think in my imagination that there is going to be some connector scene from the Valley into the Valley Persian style. And will that connector be Sheena Shea? Will that happen just like she connected Real Housewives of Beverly Hills into Vanderpump Rules? That's just something I've heard no official proof. I have no proof of that, but that is in kind of my fever dream. So we have Reza, Gigi, and Mercedes MJ back. They have an unbreakable bond, the press release says, one built on years of friendship, fiery clashes, and the kind of history that never fades. They also share a deep connection to their Persian culture, something that runs just as strong in the group of friends they now called their family. As they take on the next stage of life in the Valley, their world is bigger, their circle is bolder, and their challenges are more real than ever. As we'll see, their next chapter in life isn't quieter, it's just more complicated. Okay, so that is the Valley Persian style. Now remember, Shaws of Sunset was put on pause in 2022. Which also, yeah, a lot of people are saying, where's Family Karma? Where's, Summer House Martha's Vineyard? By the way, we want this Shaw's reboot to do good so those other shows can come back. So we have to prove as an audience that we have an appetite for this stuff, that it is worth their while to bring back these older shows. Okay, I love this. Have you guys ever walked into a store and you have no idea what wine to get, but you're looking to kind of learn more about wine, but you're a little nervous about the whole process? Well, I have stopped going to the grocery store and having to do this, but I am actually increasing my wine knowledge because our next partner, Naked Wines, has changed the game for learning about wine without having to take a whole class about it, and you don't have to stop by your grocery store. This podcast is sponsored by Naked Wines. It's 2025. Do you still shop for wine like it's 2005? Come on! Naked Wines is a service that directly connects you to the world's finest independent winemakers so you can get award-winning wine delivered straight to your door. Use our code SOBAD for the code and password at nakedwines.com and get their incredible deal of 6 bottles for just $39.99. Now, I drank 2 of these bottles this weekend. Don't worry, friends were involved, but they sent me a selection of beautiful wines. All you have to do is fill out a form saying which kinds of wines you're interested in, what your tastes are, and then boom, they send it to you immediately. I had a beautiful Cabernet Sauvignon that I enjoyed watching the second season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills this weekend, and it was a delightful evening. But you might be asking yourself, how do they do it? Naked Wines connects winemakers and wine drinkers directly, allowing for vineyard to your door delivery up to 60% off what you would pay in store. By cutting out the traditional retail middleman costs and markups, winemakers can pass those savings on to you without skimping on quality. With no commitment or membership fees, you can enjoy Naked Wines hassle-free. And don't forget, you can pause or cancel anytime, so just because you've got a trip coming up doesn't mean you can't enjoy Naked Wines before or after that much-needed vacation. Oh my gosh, tell me about it. Now is the time to join Naked Wines community. Head to nakedwines.com/SoBad. That's very important, folks. nakedwines.com/SoBad. Click Enter Voucher and put in my code SOBAD for both the code and password for 6 bottles of wine for just $39.99 with shipping included. That's $100 off your first 6 bottles at nakedwines.com/SoBad and use the code and password SOBAD for 6 bottles of wine for $39.99. Also, I do know that MJ and Sheena are very, very good friends. They post all the time. So who knows? Maybe Sheena's going to be on Persian style as well. We'll find out. Also, one of the producers on this is Ian Gelfand, who's been on the show years ago. He used to produce Summer House. I think Ian's a really great dude and a very solid producer. So I was really excited to see his name. So, Wife Swap, the Real Housewives edition. When a Real Housewife takes off her stilettos and steps into a Real Housewife shoes, all bets are off, as two of entertainment's most iconic franchises are mashed up, leading to laugh out loud moments, personal epiphanies, and an opportunity to see if the grass is truly greener. My hope is that one of the actual housewives falls in love with the husband from the other family. And by the way, just from this press release, you can tell that they step into a normal housewife's shoes. So this is great. I'm so excited for this. Now, returning series. These are series that they are saying are definitely coming back. We have Below Deck Med for a season 10. We have Below Deck Down Under for a season 4. We have Married to Medicine season 12, A Southern Charm season 11, which is already filming. Southern Hospitality got a season 4. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills got a season 15. The Real Housewives of Orange County a season 19, which is pretty much done filming. The Real Housewives of Potomac is season 10, and the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City season 6, and they are currently filming. Now, left off of this list is Below Deck Sailing Yacht. And we know Gary has gotten into some trouble year after year. So who knows about Sailing Yacht? And also what wasn't mentioned here was Summer House, even though they mentioned how good a rating Summer House has on Peacock. So I do not know why this hasn't been announced right here. Maybe it's because their show is currently airing, so that is my understanding, or maybe we're still in contract negotiations with Paige DeSorbo. Who knows? Now, we also have a lot of Bravo premieres coming up. Below Deck premiering June 2nd. Next Gen NYC, Tuesday, June 3rd. The Real Housewives of Miami, Wednesday, June 11th. And King's Court, which is a new Bravo show, July 13th. And the Las Culturistas Award Show, which I talked about last week with Bowen and Matt, will be Tuesday, August 5th. They're going to be airing this on Bravo. And also, the network once again confirmed Vanderpump Rules will return for season 12 with a new cast of servers working at Lisa Vanderpump's iconic restaurant. And also, the McBee Dynasty Real American Cowboys will move from Peacock to Bravo for season 2. So this is a lot of shows, right? This is a lot of shows, a lot of stuff to sink our teeth into. What are you the most excited for? And get it, I understand the frustration with some of your favorite shows not coming back. Also, I got a lot of comments today and messages from people like, where's the Flipping Out reboot? Because I'm on Jeff Lewis every week. And I will say, I believe it is coming. I did not expect it to be a part of this list because I know there were a couple things still being worked out. It is not my place to speak on that. I know Jeff will speak about. I didn't listen to today's episode. Maybe he spoke about it, but from my understanding, it is well on the way. But I also know in terms of when they plan on shooting that I don't think it would be announced in this whole thing. But my God. I'm personally, even if I didn't work over at his radio show every week, I would still love a Flipping Out reboot. In fact, what's so wild, DirecTV, if you have that, that's what I use to like take my notes and watch these shows. They have like all these new channels now. And one of their channels on DirecTV is the Bravo Vault. And they just air old Bravo, like just back-to-back seasons of all these old Bravo shows. And I was watching Flipping Out season 2 yesterday. I just forgot. I was like, oh my God. And they had a reunion. They had the Flipping Out reunion for season 2. And it was like in Jeff's house or something with Andy. And it was just Zoila and Jenny Poulos. And I just, and Jeff is just so fucking cocky back then. I mean, he's still cocky, but and Andy was saying something like, you know, some people say you are the best looking man on the Bravo network at this time. Do you agree with that? And who do you think is good looking that is on Bravo? Who's your competition? And he was like, you know what? I do agree with that. I am the best looking man on Bravo. And to tell you the truth, there is, I don't have any competition. And I was like, and he says it with such a straight face and you just die. But like, I am telling you, just from watching or just being around all that group of people, the chumps, you know, what I was saying when we were preparing for ChumpCon weeks ago, we would have these meetings and it was truly amazing being in these meetings to prepare for the show because I was just kept thinking, oh my God, this would be so good on reality TV. Like there were certain meetings where he would like kind of prank Doug or he would make fun of me about something. And I just thought, oh my God, I felt like I was in a reality show, but like, cause I would start laughing like like I would kind of have to like bow my head down because I would be laughing because it was just so ridiculous that I could see it on TV. You ever know that you be in like a real life situation and you're like, this would make fantastic television. And I was just like, but I'm in a room with somebody that is been on television, that should be on television again. So I think you have nothing to worry about in terms of a flipping out reboot if that's something that you are looking for. So, anyways, big day in Bravo, huge. Wouldn't it be great if the announcement was also like, and Jax Taylor will never work on Bravo again? That's a big announcement from NBC Universal. Okay, let's get into The Valley, Season 2, Episode 4. This is entitled The Circle of Strife. And at first, I wasn't in love with this title of the episode, but then I grew to love it because it's obviously the circle of life, the Lion King song, but also it's a playoff of marital strife because the circle of strife, we have Brittany and her issues with Jax, and we have Michelle and her issues with Jesse, right? So that's what I think they were going with that title. It was a little bit of a thinker. It was a little bit of a thinker. Now the show description the cable company gives us says Jesse and Kristen arrange a getaway to Santa Barbara, hoping everyone can find peace and heal. They might have wanted that, but the producers wanted everybody to like, no, they wanted hell. Are you kidding me? I wonder if like when this is like shit, I don't know if producers pitch it to them or they produce it to pitch it to producers and the producers are like, whatever's going to get you fighting. Let's make sure whatever we can do to get you fighting as much as possible. Now, I do have to say this comes at the very end of this episode, but the image of Jesse Lally in his diaper briefs, it almost looked like a skinny sumo wrestler. What the fuck was going on? Like, it looked like it was tighty whities, but he dyed them like shit gray. That's not a color, shit gray, but like it looked so unnatural. Like it truly, it was so weird because obviously the guy is proud of his body, right? I think he's like shirtless multiple times in this episode, and good on him. He's been working on his summer bod, right? But the image of him just like roaming around his bedroom by himself in those come on, man. There's cameras here. People have families. My God. I mean, that is just a haunting image. Just, he's all red in the face and he's just traipsing around in these green, like this gray Fruit of the Loom undies. No, thank you. But somebody's got to pick up the slack now that Jax Taylor is in a mental health facility. It's his first weekend, and you guys, he has learned nothing so far. I'm hearing the miracle usually happens in the second week. We get a lot of rage texting from Jax, so his presence is felt, just like Darth Vader's presence is felt throughout the entire Star Wars series, right? So you have his presence felt, but at the same time, you're mystified. Like, I've seen a lot of reality television in my days, and I still just do not understand what is going on in this man's mind that he just doesn't seem to get it. Like, no matter how much talking he does, how many people talk to him, how many sessions he goes to in therapy, he does not seem to understand. And it's always blaming somebody else, and specifically Brittany. And Brittany, obviously, Brittany's one of those people that seems blessed with like a cheerful demeanor all the time. And I don't think it's fake. I think she's truly like, I'm a giggle Gertie. I feel like she's just constantly happy. And the fact that she has to deal with somebody like Jax, I mean, maybe that's why Jax chose her to begin with, just to like combat his extreme dark energy. But it is so frustrating to watch because at some point you're like, is somebody at the actual mental health facility going to actually like tell him that this is not good behavior? Like the fact that this man has his phone 3 days in. I said this in yesterday's episode. I am not in charge of any mental health facilities, but just a word of advice, maybe don't let them have their phone for like a week, maybe the whole stay. And Jax in the after show talks about how it's illegal in California to take away somebody's phone. Dude, if the phone is your worry, then you might not be ready to go through this process because you've got to release your worldly possessions, including your phone, and it's about you and healing you and your trauma, but your trauma that you're causing to everybody else in your life is just getting pushed to the side. Where's the mental health facility for victims of Jax Taylor? When are we going to have that mental health facility? And also, we keep saying mental health facility, but is it just rehab? Like, I mean, I don't mean to be a dick, but like, is it just like a rehab center? Like, is there a reason he keeps saying mental health facility because it sounds better than like a rehab facility? I'm just so confused. And also, that mental health facility, are they watching these episodes and going, oh man, we knew he shouldn't have let him have his phone. He said he was making amends to people. And here he was just completely torturing his separated wife. What? That's crazy. Well, we'll do better next time. So it's a frustrating episode. Also, is it me or did this episode feel very long? And I don't mean it was boring or bad. It just felt long. And I do love, give it its props. I love that I can tell these people all know each other. Whether they love each other or hate each other, I don't care. It's the fact that they know each other and they have a history. To me, that is the most important factor. And so even those scenes of them just hanging out, eating food, I'm okay with because you can just tell that they're used to each other. But in no world would you usually do any kind of vacation rental with somebody that you're getting a divorce from. That's not how that goes. So, okay, let's get into this, see what we can make of it. And also, once again, the Valley After Show on Peacock. I'll be doing a Patreon recap of that on, I think that'll be released on Friday. Dude, so much information. And Jax, you could tell he filmed a new segment with Schwartz and Jesse Lally because he looks yoked like he did when I shot that Valley van sequence with him. And he told me he put on like 20 pounds of muscle. You can tell like his arms are just like bulging. But the fact in this after show, it is still to the point where it's just so much bullshit being spewed. It is so entertaining to watch. By the way, I mean that as a compliment. So much bullshit, but it's so entertaining to watch. It's just really scary because he's just one of those guys that'll always be like, was I wrong for doing this? Of course. But was it also Britney's fault? Yes, most definitely. He always asks questions. Was I wrong to... That's like he does this in every after show. He'll do that same like, was I wrong to do this? Of course I was. And listen, this Jesse Lally, if Jax wasn't there, he would be the big bad. But also, I am afraid that Michelle is losing the PR war here in terms of, likability. And I hate to like have this frank discussion, but Michelle, there's no reason that everybody shouldn't be completely supporting Michelle. This dude has said wild shit. And even when they were married, said wild shit. And if you listen to all of these people talk that knew Jesse even from back in the day, always has been this same way. Did she cheat on him? Potentially. Was it warranted? Potentially. But also what he has said and what he has done since this divorce proceedings has started is just so beyond reproach, especially if you have a little daughter. Or a little kid at all. Like the fact that you say this person's gonna have to watch their parents on TV one day and her dad saying that like, oh, your mom was with like a billionaire for $1,500 a night. And it's completely false. It's a made up rumor completely. But sometimes Michelle comes off really unlikable on screen. And what I think it is I think she's going through so many emotions that it's so bottled up in her that it's coming off really curt and really tight. And I know that's hard because Jesse's very loose, Jesse's loose and he's like dickishly funny and it is really entertaining to watch. We've got to be honest about that. But I think Michelle is completely in the right for everything. But I think those emotions are going to eat her alive because she can't really express what she wants to express because I feel like she would explode. And my worry is that Michelle will eventually be off this show and Jesse will still be on this show, if that makes sense. Am I crazy for thinking that? It's just something that I've been seeing. And the thing is, I think Michelle should just be very, I don't want to tell anybody how they should feel, but Michelle should be ecstatic that she is away from him. She's obviously in this year-long relationship. They're on their way to getting married. I watched Watch What Happens Live last night. Her and Zach were on, and she said that, yeah, someday, probably soon, she would hope to be with the gentleman that she's with now, even though that guy has a very weird smile. I have a weird smile too. I get it, but we saw that Dave and Buster's smile. it seemed weird. It seemed a little. I'm selling honey and I got a weird smile. Woo! Anyways, we start off as we always do with scenes from previous episodes, and we have Jax like, I'm going to this mental health clinic. I was just like, and I just started throwing shit. Him explaining to Dodie, and Dodie saying, just think about Cruz. And talking at him, going, I mean, the main reason I'm going to this place is for him. Which, by the way, he's like, he's if you watch the after show, he will say that is the main reason, but also the main reason is that he was forced to go by production. The main reason he went is because he wanted to keep his job. And by the way, that's not a horrible thing. We all want to keep our jobs, but that's the anger that he has at Brittany of like, how dare you ruin my job for me? You know what a real job is? A real job is a teacher. A real job is somebody that is bagging your groceries. Those are real jobs. Jax Taylor on a reality show after he got fired from Vanderpump Rules. This is not a real job. This is a gift. This is a gift. And yeah, man, if your behavior was that concerning to all of your friends and production, you should be, man, I want him to have a miracle. I want him to be able to see clearly how his behavior impacts others and how he could have a completely different life. Like, what is the right cocktail of meds that we need to get this guy on? Anyways, the other storyline we had was Zach crying about Janet in previous episodes of like, Brittany, Janet put like a literal wedge between us. And I feel like I've lost like a big part of our relationship, Brittany. And Brittany's just like, yeah, And then last week's episode where Brittany's like, Luke told me Jesse was trying to say that Michelle was hooking up with a billionaire for money. And Michelle crying like, I hate him. And then Jesse in a scene with Luke and Kristen, and Luke and Kristen are Team Jesse now. Luke's like, I don't know what's going on with Michelle. She's most likely with her boyfriend for the last 2 years. Nothing about Aaron and Michelle adds up. I think there was a situation that happened with the two of them while I was married. So I have decided to plan a Santa Barbara getaway. I have found and reserved a house. And then we go back to a clip from Dave and Buster's where Michelle, the dumbest, this is Michelle, come on. She was like, we should vote Jesse out of the house. And Dodie's like, he rented the house. And Michelle's crying again. I'm like, girl, I get it. You don't want to be there with him. Like, you will be protected by your friends, but like, do not make moves like that because you just give Jesse more power. And then we get into our theme song that is slowly growing on me. I'm all right. Woo! Everything is all right. Everything is all right. I love that everything is like, everything is all right. And Jax is in a mental health clinic. People are getting divorced. Everything is so far from all right. I mean, there couldn't be anything less all right than what is happening in the Valley right now. We pick back up and it's like this upbeat hip hop music. It's like, I feel it. What now? Come on, to get down. I feel it. What now? Come on, get down. And we're over at Jesse and Michelle's old place. Jesse's there, and we see little Malibu, their dog. And Jesse's like, if you were to go to Santa Barbara, Isabella, and you were to go wine tasting, what shoes would you wear? And Isabella's like, wear these fucking flip-flops. Wear these, Dad. Your flip-flops. Wear these. And these are penny loafers. Wear them, I guess, if you want. And Jesse's like, I appreciate your respect for style. No, but seriously, she does pick out these shoes that look like, I don't know, it just looks like all these different colors of paint. Jesse, there's some interesting fashion there. Like, will we see Jesse Lally at the Met Gala? Probably not, but I think he'd love to be there, if that makes sense. So we go from that scene and we're doing the round robin with all the cast members, and we have Aaron having breakfast with Michelle, and he's like, are you having regrets about going on the trip at all? And Michelle's like, honestly, I have so many emotions. I'm so confused. A part of me just wants to stay home and not deal with it. And he's like, what do you think the worst that is going to happen? And she's like, anything could happen with Jesse. I love that. Like, that literally could mean anything. That's dark, you know, anything could happen. And Michelle's going, right? Okay, so we get out of that scene, and now we round robin over to Zach. And Zach's with Kristen, and he's like, I got to talk about Santa Barbara because every fiber of my being, Kristen, is worried that this is going to be an insane shit show. Yeah, it's reality television. My God, yes. This is like useless dialogue. She's like, I feel like Janet's tried to constantly like take me down or get me out of the group. And I'm like, ugh. And Doty's like, why hold on to that horrible grudge? I am salt of the earth. I am spiritual, Doty. And Zach's like, yeah, it's ridiculous. And they're laughing. Fun music keeps playing. I'm on top of the world. And we're over at Danny and Nia's, and they are packing for this trip. And Nia's like, hey, this trip, we will not have any children. We can get some sleep. And we need it so bad. And Danny's like, yeah, after some lovemaking. And then Nia lets us know, I might be ovulating too. And Danny's like, oh my gosh, are we talking about this right now? Oh my gosh. Yes, that is Nia's sole purpose in life is for you to give her a fourth baby, and your sole purpose is to move to Santa Clarita. Okay, so now we're over at Janet and Jason's, and everybody is pulling up there to meet up to drive to Santa Barbara, and we see Jesse Lally is already dressed for the occasion. Like I tell you, this guy is a fashionista. He is wearing like a bowling shirt, but it's like a very fancy bowling shirt with like wine leaves on like one side. There, you know, this guy like was very proud of this purchase, and I bet that shirt was like $600. And Jesse's like, "This is a wine trip. I'm going to wear the wine shirt." So everybody's excited. This is like the calm before the storm where everybody is happy to be going on this trip. So Zach's in a car with Jasmine, Danny, and Nia. And Zach is telling Nia that his boyfriend Benji is going to move here for 2 months. And Nia's like, can you see this like long term? And Zach's like, oh no, I could marry him right now. Oh my God, are we going to have a Benji Zach wedding on the Valley and Jackson's going to like officiate or something? Anyways, Jasmine's like, hey, I forgot to show you. I did bring a little piece of Benji, and she made a little flat Stanley. You know those little flat Stanleys? But it's like, you know, it's like a little tiny body with like Benji's head on it. They used to call them flat Stanleys. So I don't know. It's cute, right? Little flat Benji. Anyways, Zach is flipping out and then starts making out with the flatbed. No, I don't know, you guys. It's fun. It's a prop. Then we cut to the other car with Michelle and Brittany and Janet, and Jason's driving it. And Brittany's phone is like ding, ding, ding. And Michelle's like, don't even read it, Brittany. And Brittany's like, he's already starting to text. And then she says, I found out he's like in therapy almost 7 hours a day. And so they take his phone while he's in therapy. And then he gets a 15-minute breaks in between. So he's doing therapy, getting his phone, rage texting me, going back to therapy, getting his phone, rage texting me, going back to therapy, rage texting me, going back to therapy. At least the guy is consistent. We want to get him on a schedule. He does best with the schedule of therapy and then rage texting. But truly, that is batshit insane. In the talking head, which by the way, Brittany, we've got to listen, Brittany, beautiful body, but like the talking headdress with the big circle where you see the gazongas. Like, I know we're not supposed to say things like that, but like, dude, like it's distracting. Anyways, Brittany's like, one of the main reasons why Jax is in the mental health facility right now is because of his anger issues, his rage. And I actually thought that whenever he was in there for 30 days, I would be able to have some kind of peace. And then we see all of these texts pop up on the screen. Jack's going, please don't lie to me. Not playing your games, ... Just be honest. I want this place to work for me. And I will crumble if I find out you are doing things with other people. Can you talk to me? He's a liar. And Brittany's like, how dumb was I? And so she tells the car, well, it makes me happy that he's there. And Michelle's like, well, I wish Jesse could join him. And Brittany's like, ha, 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 ha. I like that Brittany's always able to like, she's right back. She's up with a laugh. Cut over to Jesse, Kristen, Doty, and Luke's car. And Jesse's like, Michelle hasn't even looked me in the eyes this morning. It's almost like we're not married anymore. Jesse, I think there's like a part of him that's still in love with Michelle. And he like seems to be weirdly obsessed with, I mean, it's like, dude, yeah. She doesn't want to be with you and she doesn't like you. I don't know what, you're not going to rebuild towards another marriage, right? But Doty's like, she didn't smile at me either, right? She didn't look at me. And I heard Luke go, "Hi, Michelle." And she just looked down and away, Luke says. And Jesse's like, "What is her problem? I hope it all goes well because I don't want chaos like the last week has been." And we flash back to that first episode of this season where they were fighting about getting full custody. She'll never get full custody. Another scene where it's like, "You don't give a fuck that I'm the mother of your child." And he's like, "I have never said that," in so many words. And she's like, "I swear on my mother, you have said that." And then he goes, "Okay, but you also swore on Isabella's life that you didn't cheat on me, and you did." And then the scene of Dave and Buster's where it's like she's crying. It's like, she's just making my life harder. Jesse tells the car if she was happy as she says she is, she wouldn't have to tell everybody how happy she is. Dude, I think legitimately you are the thing that makes her like she's happy except for the fact that you exist, and vice versa. Now, back in the car, Michelle is saying that. She goes, "I'm so happy. He's the one that's always screaming and always upset." I'm like, if you're so happy, go be happy. I mean, maybe these two are meant for each other. They're legitimately saying the same things. But Michelle's like, "Leave me alone." And Brittany's like, "Yeah, you guys are both like in full-on relationships now." Michelle in a talking head says, "My plan is just avoid Jesse as much as possible and have fun with my girlfriends. Woo! And I'm going to be on the other side of the house, and I'm not going to be dealing with his bullshit." Back to Jesse in the car. He's like, "If we can't get a smile out of Michelle with a couple glasses of wine, then I don't know what we're going to do for the rest of the summer." You don't have to worry. You don't live with her anymore. You do not have to worry about how she is the rest of the summer. That is not your concern. Okay, so we pull up to Santa Barbara, and I got to tell you, this place is amazing. It really is this beautiful house. Like, I feel like I've seen this on The Bachelor or something. But Jesse obviously picked this house. He sells real estate, so he's very proud of the house that he picked, right? And the view outside, like the door opens up and you immediately see the ocean, and it truly looks like a Kardashian house, you know? It is very, when you see those rich people houses sometimes, and like I've seen a couple like in person, it blows your flipping mind, right? So Jesse's already there, but everybody else pulls up and he looks at them through the peephole and he's like, "Are you guys willing to leave the drama at the door?" And they're all like, yeah, okay, yeah. And he goes, "Well, I've gotten white flags for everybody." And he legitimately went to a party supply store probably and bought all these white flags. So he's giving out white flags. And Brittany's like, "What's a white flag for?" And Zach's like, "For peace, when you give up war." I love that Brittany might not know what a white flag means. And then Jesse's like, "Michelle, I think you definitely need a white flag." And she just goes, "No," and walks in. In a talking head, she's like, "Jesse, you don't just get a pass for treating me like shit every single day and now call me an escort. So screw you and your white flag." That's the thing, is that you have to keep reminding yourself he did literally call her an escort. And that would, I think, piss off a lot of people, right? So all the kids, all the Valley gang's in there, and they're loving the house. And Jesse's like, "It's a perfect Spanish hacienda, typical of the Santa Barbara region. 7-bedroom, 8-bath, up on the cliff, overlooking the Pacific Ocean." I love that. I was like, "Jesse, I'm not going to buy the house. Stop selling it to us," right? Jesse's already cracking the champagne. It's early in the day, and you can already tell he's going to get his drink on. He keeps going about the house. He goes, "There's an emotional appeal to these older homes, which I love. Obviously, I live in an old Spanish cottage, right?" So everybody's like checking out the rooms, but every room looks amazing. This one room has like a shower room where it's like a huge shower that you could like literally live in, which I think Dodie and Luke want, so they can make love in the shower room, right? And Dodie even says, "Hey, so much baby making could happen in this room. This Santa Barbara trip couldn't be more perfect for Luke and I because it is my ovulation window." I love this because on Vanderpump Rules, you never heard about ovulation. In the Valley, they hit you over the head. I am learning things about ovulation that I never knew. But she's like, "Yeah, you get a little vacation, a little bit of wine, no dogs. We can make some babies this weekend." So Dodie's like, "I will be straight fucking this weekend." Anyways, Michelle wants to get the room furthest away from Jesse. Zach is setting up his flat Benji, his little Benji dolls he can whack off to in his bedroom. It really, truly is an amazing house. So they're going to go race cars, Jesse Lally says. And I was like, there's no fucking way these are going to be real cars because Jesse has already pounded a bottle of champagne. So there's no way. But we see them all getting ready for like their race car looks. Everybody has one. I will say it is very funny. This has got to be Janet's doing. Jason Caperna is literally what looks like the Ryan Gosling jacket on the Drive movie poster that he wears in Drive. Jason is wearing that jacket, which has got to be, I mean, because that is a throwback to Doty's Drive moment with Jack Taylor. This has to be Janet's doing. This couldn't have just been a happy accident. Anyways, they're all in the house getting changed, and Doty puts her healing crystal in the side of her room, and then she's like, Luke, come here. Come here. Let's do that, and she wants to do the hippity dippity before they go out because it's ovulation time potentially, right? And then the camera goes by Doty and Luke's room, and you hear some bed spring squeaking, and you hear a, oh. Now, Doty and Luke are finished from their lovemaking, and they're dressed up. Everybody's like, all right. And Nia's like, where have you guys been so long? I saw a hat on the door over there. And Danny's like, yeah, you're getting some. All right. And then because Luke had just hugged Danny, and Danny's like, do I need to wash my hands? All right. All right. And Doty's like, no, we washed our hands after. Don't worry, right? We did. But everybody's just very excited to be going to whatever this race car thing is. So we get to the racetrack, and this Jesse Lally, this is our first blouseless moment of the episode where he comes in with his like race car outfit, but like the top is down, and he's like showing off his muscles and giving everybody the ick. And then Luke's like, hey, Jesse, I'd never noticed how small your nipples are. And Jesse's like, yeah, and they go like this. They point one direction and the other one points the other direction. And Luke's like, they're micro nipples. And Danny's like, are they always hard? Thank you, Danny. Asking the tough questions that we all want to know. Jesse, I was afraid to ask you this. Are your nipples always hard? And Jesse goes, always. Chilling when Jesse says always to the hard nipples. So Danny keeps going like, I got the need for speed. And we get like a shot of them all walking in their badass race car outfits. We meet Jeff Ellings, the race car instructor. And you guys, they're not racing real cars. They're racing little remote control cars. Little remote control cars. And I think some people are actually disappointed, but I think it's safer that way since Jesse was just pounding booze. It wasn't going to work. It's safer for everybody this way. We're about to start, and Brittany's getting more. Jax must have one of his 15-minute breaks because we get the texts again. He's like, can you call me? I have some stuff I want to say. I just got out of therapy. Which, by the way, Jax is going to go into a rage when he's like, are you fucking kidding me? I love remote control cars. Are you fucking kidding me? Brittany, you did this to me. My favorite thing is remote control cars. We get more texts, not making you feel safe or wanted or asking how you are. I've learned that I haven't done that. And Brittany's like, I just got to block his number or something. And Janet's like, is he rage texting you? Is he rage texting you right now? Jason says, no, he's just saying like things to hurt me. And Janet's like, only Jax would rage text from rehab. Exactly. And Doty says, Brittany, is Jax texting you right now? And Brittany's like, 24/7. And Doty's like, I got a text from him earlier. And it was like, I love it here. I really like being here. And Brittany's like, well, because now he knows that we're coming here today. So he's trying to like make everybody think that's how he's been. But this is what he's texting me. Kristen, look at all these messages. And we get like, you took my son from me, disgusting. And then I freeze framed on the phone. And he goes, I'm doing this for my son. My God, our family is, your family is the most fucked up something I have ever seen. I will never, ever forgive you. You destroyed the only thing that I love doing. He said that I live doing, but he meant I love doing, which is fucking reality television. Guys, that's like jail time right there. That's a second mental health facility stay just for that text alone. And then he said, you read the text further and it says, even Ryan said, I'm implicated. Says, even Ryan said, I don't blame you. What she did was ruthless. Showing random people that video is absolutely disgusting. Okay, so let's break down this. Let's just it is not me he's referring to, Ryan. He's talking about Ryan Revel, his manager. That's the Ryan. But the video, so obviously, Jax got to a mental health facility for some reason. So I do believe there was a video either caught by the cameras or Brittany of Jax just losing his fucking damn mind. And Brittany felt very unsafe. And I think that is what led to Jax having to check into a mental health facility. He also then texted her, "You better be taking care of that house, you said. You have to be there a few times a week to get the packages. Take care of the home. You put me in here now. Do your fucking work as a single mom. I'm watching the cameras and you're not there. Again, where was my fucking note if you cared? Yet you have time to text Julian." So he is like unloading on Brittany. Like, you better be at that house to pick up packages. What? By the way, I will say there seems to be a lot of downtime at mental health facilities where he can check all of his home cameras. But Brittany's showing Kristen all of this stuff. And by the way, good on Brittany. Brittany should not have to hide all of this shit like she's probably hid for their entire relationship, right? But Kristen's like, "Oh my God, what the fuck?" And Brittany's like, "He literally says to me that I put him in prison and that he is miserable. And then today, whatever he finds out that we're going to Santa Barbara, he's like, I'm liking being here. I'm trying to take this serious, which is what I want." But then knowing that he's like texting all of you guys and saying that, I'm like, this is more manipulative crap. And then in a talking head, Brittany goes, "I'm not checking on him enough. I'm not being a good wife. Why haven't I sent him care packages yet? Why haven't I tried to come visit him yet? It's been 3 days. Like, relax." So Jax wants like pats on the back from his separated wife that literally in the last scene before he left for the mental health facility, he called her a whore. He called her all of these things. I mean, like, why would he ever expect that from Brittany at this point, right? Like, what has he done for Brittany? Anyways, Dodie texts back Kristen. Dodie texts Jax and says, "I'm really happy that Brittany is like stood up for herself and is taking care of herself." And then immediately Dodie's phone starts blowing up and Dodie's like, "Uh-oh, here we go." And Brittany's like, "Let me see it." And she's like, "No, you don't want to see it. It's just more of the same stuff that he does." And she's like, "No, I need to see it." And then Dodie finally is like, "Yeah, I guess you can see it." And it's literally like he's texting Dodie. He's like, "By sending pics of herself to Julian while I was in Michigan, naked pics and pics of my son." And Brittany's like, "Oh, he's going off again already. I'm trying to enjoy remote control race car driving. Come on." Now Jason comes over and it's like, "Is he texting you too?" And then Zach comes over and it's like, what? Why is he allowed to text in a mental health facility? What kind of rehab is this? Zach says. We see more texts. "Going out partying while your husband's in mental health house is come across real nice." Yeah, this one, he's so angry that there's no proper sentence structure and it's like all over. It says, "Going out partying while your husband's in mental health house." Mental health house sounds like a really good alternative programming to Summer House, which, by the way, that could actually work as Summer House's title as well. Mental health house is come across real nice. Go screen grab all this now and send to your friends. Dude, you've been in reality television enough. Like, don't you know they are going to use all of this stuff? Anyway, Zach's like, "Give me your phone. Give me your phone." And Brittany's like, "I don't want to freaking cry." And she's starting to like tear up. And in talking to that, she's like, he needs to take this serious because this is going to make or break it for the rest of his life. If he doesn't get help now, then he's just going to keep spiraling. And that scares me. So what's amazing about this is that I truly think Brittany will never have any kind of romantic relationship with Jax Taylor ever again, but she still wants him to figure this shit out for himself and for their son. Like, she wants this for him. She is just not going to put herself in the Hurricane Jax path at all. And by the way, Jax doesn't want to be with Brittany either, period. He wants to be with like girls like that leave the white panties on the marital bathroom sink. So we do the whole race car thing and Danny ends up winning the whole thing. I don't know. Very sporty. It was fun, whatever. So then after it, Janet goes to Brittany and is like, "Yo, did you see this?" And she's like, "Yeah, I know." And we see an E! News headline, "Jax Taylor enters treatment for mental health struggles after Brittany Cartwright breakup." And then all of these different articles pop up and Jason's like, "Do you know who the source is?" And Brittany's like, "I don't know who the source is. Some of the details that people know is a little weird. How do they know this many details? And Janet's like, does he know this is coming out right now? And Brittany's like, I don't know. I don't want him to know. Nobody texts Jax. Brittany says, nobody texts Jack. Nobody texts Jax and be like, hey, TMZ, just make sure. But like, we have to be like a parent, like he knew that we were going on this trip. And I'm like, who told him we were going on this trip? And Jesse goes, I told Jax we were going to Santa Barbara. Also, by the way, a bunch of detectives there. Come on. Jax is the one that leaked that he was going to a mental health facility. Are you kidding me? This has Jax Taylor written all over it. But Jesse's like, yes, I told him we were going. I talk to him every day. And Brittany's like, Jesse, come on. That is just going to make him upset. And Janet's like, we don't want to tempt him to check out early because he can check out whenever he wants. And Jason's like, I spoke to him on the phone yesterday. He still blames Brittany for a lot of what's going on. And he hasn't got to a point where he just wants to work on himself yet. Jeez. Jesse in a talking head goes, I don't know why anyone would care that Jax knows that we're in Santa Barbara. What would set him off is us going on a trip, not telling him and then having him see it. Like, yeah, you can be Team Brittany and she deserves support, but why does Jax not deserve support? You know what? I feel like Jax has gotten so much support in the fact that you guys are all still talking to him. And I don't mean but the fact that they all still interact with Jax. That is support. Imagine 13 years of like underhanded shit done by this dude and everybody still has him in their lives, right? Anyways, Jesse goes, well, I did want to talk to you guys about my friend. And for you guys to social bully her and like called people and told them to block. He's talking about the girl he's dating that maybe hooked up with the Baywatch guy, right? And Janet's like, I didn't tell anyone to block her. I said I blocked her. And Jesse's like, your husband called me. And Janet's like, did I tell you to block her? And Jason's like, yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, okay. Well, that's different than people. I told my husband to. But I had nothing but wonderful things to say about her. I said it's better than the hose that Jax is dating, who's posting screenshots about eating ass. The girl Jax is dating, who's posting comments about eating ass. Oh my God, if Jax just ate ass and then had to go to a mental health facility, what a way to go out. Brittany's like, no, Jesse, I thought she was very nice to me. But the fact that she was sending letters to Michelle and the fact that you allowed that was disgusting to me. And Jesse goes, Michelle said things that were untrue. Janet's like, what did she say that was untrue? She said your friend's going around telling people that you guys aren't together and that she's sleeping with other people. And we flash back to that Sheena scene. Happy birthday, Sheena. Sheena's like... Anyways, we flash back to the Sheena scene with the guy from Baywatch. Brittany in a talking head says, I'm super uncomfortable with somebody coming into our friendships and trying to say that there's all this slander and stuff going on. It can't be slander if the things that are being talked about are things that actually came out of your mouth. Janet's, are you guys together now, Jesse? And Jesse goes, no. And Janet's like, why are you defending the girl that you're not even together against the mother of your own child? And Jason goes, well, he still likes her still. And then Jesse to Janet goes, don't fucking manipulate this situation right now. And Brittany's like, who manipulated? And then Jesse goes, I'm talking to her, Brittany. I'm not talking to you. I can't believe Jason Caperna didn't go in there and just go to Pound Town on this guy. And Janet's like, what am I doing to manipulate it? I don't like that your ex is threatening a lawsuit against my friend. And Jesse's like, stop trying to play a fucking game with me, okay? This dude is Patrick Bateman. Like, it's like in a race car outfit. He's like, do not play. You will lose this game. I am so much better. This guy is also tanked. He's hammered. You're not suited for this game, Janet Caperna. And then Brittany's like, I can't handle this drama. I'm going away. And you're not suited for this drama. And Janet's like, your friend shouldn't be threatening legal stuff, Jesse. That's bullshit. And Jesse goes, well, you know what? Your best friend shouldn't have been cheating on me for 2 years, but she did. And Janet goes, honestly, if I was her, I would be cheating on you too. Woo! Got to give it to Janet on this one. Not giving that point to Jesse. That goes to Janet. So we get back to the house. We find out that Jesse bought a case of Prosecco on the way back. And Jason Caperna's like, oh my God, this dude can drink like a fish. He doesn't look his age, you can't even tell he's wasted. And then Michelle's like, he also spends thousands of dollars for moisturizer, so I would hope so. So we're at that phase of the divorce relationship where the partner is just like bashing the partner with every one of their secrets. Brittany does this a little bit too, and it's just naturally what happens. You just start talking mad shit about your ex, right? Now, this is the first time we see these gray underwear. Jesse's changing in the other room. You can tell this guy is super pumped about his body. And if you're trying to escape the Patrick Bateman American Psycho rumors, it's not going to happen with this episode. Like he's full. This dude loves to watch himself have sex in a mirror. This dude is most. This dude is most at peace watching himself have sex in a mirror. Anyways, people are gonna grill. Luke's gonna be manning the grill. I trust Luke, by the way. Luke and Jason are the top men on this show for me, right? So yeah, I think there's no competition at this point. Jack is then asking Michelle, should I like pull Janet for a chat? Should I like talk to Janet about everything? And so he's like, Janet, let me get you a beer. And she's like, I drink IPA. I'm like, that's really intense. But he gets her a beer and they go outside and Janet in a talking head's like, well, I hope Zach is going to let his guard down and actually realize that the things he said are really serious and really hurtful. I think that it's big of me to even sit and listen to Zach after the cruel, demonic things he said about me. So they get situated outside. It's just the two of them. And Zach's like, I just wanted to like kind of pull you aside because I feel like we've had like a good day today. We need to figure this out. And Janet is so reluctant. She's just like, I know. She's like, I guess that's what these shows, you have to make up with people. And Zach goes, it's not just me though. And Janet goes, yes, it is. It is. And Janet goes, and I am a nice person despite the mean girl comments. And then Brittany's like inside, she's like, oh my God, I hear him screaming. Uh-oh. And they're like, no, they're laughing now. They're laughing. She's laughing. Oh, good. Okay, this makes me so happy. Do it for Brittany. So Zach's like, there are a lot of things that have gone very sideways. I'm responsible for a lot of them. I feel like you're responsible for a few of them. And I want you to know there was sincerity to my apology. And I thought that we had apologized and moved forward. And we flash back to last summer when Janet was talking to Zach, where he said he takes responsibility and he's sorry, right? Now, flash forward to this, Zach goes, you just dropped me. And there was no friendship anymore all of a sudden. And he starts crying. Zach, dude, this guy can cry on cue. Acting. He's like, I thought we were so good. And then you didn't invite me to Big Bear. And in that moment, I was really hurt. And I'm like, she doesn't care about me. By the way, it should be period next scene. Yes. But Janet's like, okay, like our friendship was not in a good place until my birthday. So when it was like the baby moon situation and Jason rented a house that there wasn't necessarily enough room for everybody. And Zach's like fuss. He's like, oh, don't even say it. Oh. Janet was like, I had to think if Zach and I are there yet. I should have had a conversation with you about it. I didn't feel like the right time. When we did have a conversation, it didn't feel good and it went south. And we flash back again to last summer where, he at Jax's bar, he's like, I could literally give a shit. And Janet's like, I'm done. And he's like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. Now, flash forward to this. Janet goes, Brittany came to me after the opening of Jax's. And she said, we have to get lunch. I have to tell you things were like really bad. Zach got crazy last night. We had to have him taken out of the bar. And she was like shaking, almost in tears, telling me this. We flash back again to last summer where Brittany's telling Zach, she's literally like 8 months pregnant right now. And Zach's like, I don't care. And Michelle's like, you should care. Because if you cause stress among someone, she can literally, her water could break. Now flash forward to this. Janet goes, to say like, I hope something bad happens, cut me. If your goal was to cut me that night, you won. Like it hurt. Do we really think it fully hurt, or do we just think Janet really doesn't like Zach? No, it probably did hurt. And by the way, Zach is completely in the wrong. Like, that is a disgusting thing to say. Now, Zach goes, I took full responsibility. Whatever I said, I will own to a point. In a talking head, Zach goes, that night at the bar opening, I absolutely said stuff that I should not have said. But here's the thing. I was blacked out and was having a private conversation with my best friend. This is basically a concrete example of how Brittany has actively taken Janet's side. And I kind of see that as a betrayal. What Zach has done here is this is a textbook example of placing blame on somebody else. Of like, I will completely own this, but I would like to draw attention to this other horrible person that did a horrible thing. And also, if you are blackout, he's like, I was completely blackout and I was having a private conversation. If you were completely blackout, you wouldn't even remember having a private conversation. Everybody on this cast gets blackout. I mean, we all have been there at a couple times in our lives. Even Danny Bucco was blackout. We talked about last episode, right? So Janet in this scene goes, whatever actually happened that night, I won't ever know because I wasn't there blacked out. I was 8 months pregnant at home. And Zach was like, I agree. Jenny goes, but I do know what Brittany told me, and so that's what I have to live with. And Zach's like, oh my God, this is going to go down such the wrong path. I need to stop. Nia, where's Nia? Nia, can you please come here? I love that Nia's like the peacekeeper. Nia's like, I'm literally trying to get pregnant again, Zach, please. And Zach's like, I'm literally like getting too emotional right now and I can't stop. Sorry, Nia. So Nia comes out and she's like, hey guys, how's everybody doing? What's going on? And Nia's like, I see you're emotional, Zach. And Jenna goes, look, a lot has happened. I genuinely want to move forward. Zach's like, same. Friends make mistakes. Friends fuck up. Friends do things that are like out of pocket. Friends like completely cheat on each other. Friends lie to each other. And Janet's like, listening to all of this, like, interesting. Jenna goes, look, Zach, give me your hands. I genuinely want to move on. And Zach's like, perfect. Can we both do this? Now, remember, this is like strategy on Janet's part, right? Because Dodie will not have really a lot to do with Janet, but Dodie is best friends with Zach. So if Janet can make peace with Zach, Janet can make inroads with Dodie, right? But Janet goes, okay, we don't have to be best friends, right? Let's just have a good time together. And, kumbaya, my lord, right? So we have put a stop to the anger between them. And then we have a group hug between the three of them. Okay, that scene wasn't that hard, right? So Luke's grilling and Brittany is taking like glamour shots by the ocean. And she's like, is this too much? I love that Jack's seeing this footage probably yesterday. Is like, I bet she was sending those to Julian. And then Kristen Doty goes to the door and she has brought a spiritual healer for the gang to get spiritually healed. And of course, there is nothing more Vanderpump Rules, the Valley centric than a spiritual healer at some point. Like, by the way, what would have been amazing if Jax's Reiki healer from like season 6 of Vanderpump Rules, if they got her back and Jax is like, no, my Reiki healer. Dodie in a talking head says, there's no question that our group is fractured. Yeah, for the last decade. So I found this wonderful woman. Her name is Willa, and she's going to be holding a healing ceremony for us, as well as a gratitude circle. Of course she is. Why wouldn't? We've been pounding booze all day. We did some remote control race car driving. It's obvious that a spiritual healer would be next, right? So Dodie takes the spiritual healer outside by the ocean, and the spiritual healer is like, what are you hoping to receive from this? In a talking head, Dodie's like, we all know that Will is not going to be able to heal every part of this group. I'd be willing to say she's not going to be able to heal any part of this group. Dodie goes, not even Jesus Christ could do that himself. Why is Jesus Christ taking shrapnel right now? Anyway, she tells Willa, this is kind of a hyperactive group. So we're hoping for a metaphorical Band-Aid to be put on this group, right? So the spiritual healer is setting up yoga mats and is like putting rose petals all around. And Janet's like, why is there yoga mats I don't want to do physical activity on vacation, okay? Zach is walking by. Everybody's kind of just checking this out. All the girls go out by the water and they're asking about Janet's conversation with Zach. And she said, it's good. We both don't want to rehash the past. We're going to move forward. I mean that. And Brittany's like, oh my God, this is worth it. Yeah. Brittany is so happy. And Nia's like, forward. So everybody's thrilled about Zach. Now, Dodie's in her bedroom and she's frustrated. And Luke's like, you okay? And Dodie's like, I just took my fucking ovulation test and it's saying that today was like the last day. And she's starting to like cry. And she's like, I'm just frustrated. And she hugs Luke. I mean, this is real shit right here. Like, this is real. And she's like, I don't know if we're going to figure this out. I hate my body. I'm sorry. I'm just frustrated. And she's like holding him. And Luke's just like, it'll happen soon. Dodie in a talking head says, I worked so hard to track my ovulation and somehow I am off again. And it's really disheartening. It's frustrating. It's annoying. It kind of feels like a failure because I am trying everything to be a mom, she says. And it feels like I can't catch a break. And remember, she lost a child last season, right? But Luke just like holds her face. What if Luke just holds her face? No, Luke holds her face and like kisses her gently on the forehead a bunch. He seems like a really good partner in scenes like this, right? Now, outside, back to somebody that's potentially not a good partner, Jesse Lally walks up on Daniel Bucco and Jason Caperna, who are sitting watching the ocean. And he comes with a drink. He's all GQ'd out, Jason says. And you could tell he has like 1,000-yard stare. I think he's, obviously a little tipsy, right? Danny goes, yeah, Jesse will always be on the brink of death. And then all of a sudden he comes out looking like he just got, And Jesse goes, when was I ever on the brink of death? And Danny's like, 3 under 2. Jason's like, so how are you and Michelle doing this trip? Have you spoken to her at all? Have you guys spoken? And Jesse goes, who's Michelle? It's a little psychopath joke, you guys. And Jason's like, okay, there you go. And Jesse goes, no, I haven't. I haven't spoken to Michelle at all. She didn't even want to take the white flag that I purchased from Party City. She wouldn't take that. I spent $1 on that. And Jason's like, she's in war times. And then Jesse goes, it's on her. I made an attempt. In a talking head, Jesse goes, yeah, of course Michelle's not speaking to me. And yeah, I got into it a little bit with Janet and Brittany. And yes, I did yell at a bunch of women, okay? I came into this trip with the idea that we could let everything go, leave everything in LA. And so far, it was a failed mission. He tells the guys, he goes, my car is my life, just spinning in circles. And they're all kind of laughing uncomfortably. And he's like, 0 to 60 in circles. He is like just one, he's like one pair of gray underwear away from just completely losing it. Now, Nia comes into Dodie and Luke's room, and Nia's like, I heard you weren't feeling so great, Kristen. Why is Nia the one everybody goes to? This is the spiritual healer right here. And Luke's like, well, the ovulation timing has just been, chaos the last few months. Acupuncture's kind of throwing it off. We thought it was going to be these next few days. And I guess the ovulation was the lowest it could be, right? And Nia's like, yeah, it's very frustrating. And Dodie goes, but also just the ovulation timing doesn't make sense, And then they're going over the ovulation scandal, the ovulation calendar, not scandal, not yet, right? So they're going over the days. And Dodie's just like, oh my God, I feel like a 0 right now. Like Zach and Janet, whoever's fighting the person's too fucked up. I don't care about any of it. I don't care. Yeah, like Dodie's dealing with real shit. She does not care about Zach and Janet making up at all. But Dodie goes, I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why? And he's like, nothing is wrong with you. Luke in a talking head goes, I wish there was a way that I could get Kristen out of her head right now. It's difficult to see her beat herself up. Even if this isn't our month, next one could be, or the next one. Dodie tells Luke, I don't want to hang out with those people. Luke in a talking head says, we will have our baby. It's not up to us. It's God's plan. I 100% believe it will happen. I mean, that is a strong, confident partner. And guess what? She is about to give birth. Truly amazing. But Luke's, let's go grab everybody and let's heal. Yeah, now's the time. Let's get some healing in before we go to bed. So yeah, that's where we're at. That was kind of emotionally sad. But now all of a sudden we hear Zach crying and he walks into that thing and like shuts the door and Brittany follows him and she's like, why are you crying? And Zach is like, you went to lunch with her and you told her what I said. And Brittany's like, 'cause it was bad. And Zach's like, why the fuck did you tell her? And Brittany's like, well, maybe I shouldn't have. But at the same time, if she said the things you said about her to me, I would have told you. And Zach's like, I don't think you would have. I would have. I don't think you would have. I promise you. Zach says, I gave Brittany a lot of leeway because I know what she's going through. Brittany knows who I am and what I actually think, and she knows anything that I say when I am plastered that clearly I didn't mean anything I was saying. And it was all out of frustration, as Lisa Barlow would say. She should have known better than to tell Janet. This is wild. Oh my God, Brittany goes from handling one baby to another baby in this scene. And also, maybe it's a sign that Zach should actually start taking the things that he says when he's plastered a little bit seriously, or maybe cut back on the being plastered, right? Now, Zach is sitting on the bed and Brittany's standing over him and his face is completely in her mountainous boobs. And he's like, oh, I'll put your head right in my boobs. And Zach's like, that's where I want it to be. That's what comforts me. And then they're laughing. Oh, we figured it out. We're friends for life. Woo! Kentucky. So dinner's finished. We're called out to do the healing ceremony, and everybody's sitting on the yoga mats. You can tell Brittany this whole scene is trying her best not to crack up. Just imagine this, like drinking all day, having a barbecue, and then all of a sudden you're getting like a energy healer in front of you. And the healer, she's like, thank you for all being here. My name is Willa, and I am a ceremonialist. I'm a Taurus. I'm an embodiment god. I'm an embodiment guide and a spiritual photographer. I studied that at ASU. And Brittany turns to Michelle. She's like, I'm not good at this stuff. I'm going to laugh. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know anything about crystals and sage, but maybe if we can just roll up a big fat joint and all pass it around the circle, we would be giggling and getting along. Just being like real chill, man. I love Brittany's laugh. But by the way, why did we spend the money on the spiritual healer? Can't we just normalize pot smoking on Bravo, like fully? We've made like some inroads here and there, but wouldn't you fucking love for all of, like, Brittany said it, I would love to see this cast pass around a big old fat doobie and just look at the ocean and talk deep shit, like Jesse's like, do you ever wonder if we are actually living in a simulation? Anyways, our spiritual guide says, I'm here to share our connection to Mother Earth, to our heart centers, to our sacred wisdom within. A willing heart is all you need to transform any situation that is troubling you now. So Brittany's trying not to laugh. But Dodie's taking this very seriously. Jasmine goes, look, I love God. I'm not really into this little woo-woo spiritual thing, but there's a lot of things everyone needs to release, right? And then we see the spiritual guide like blowing, like fanning smoke over their foreheads. She goes, to begin, we're going to create a sacred mandala. And Brittany's like, hey, mandala, what? So each of us are going to take chunks of earth magic. Earth magic, that's what I call Jesse in his underwear. Earth magic! And you're going to want to place the earth chunk in the center. What is it that you're calling in? And what is it that you're ready to release? Jax would have loved this. Whoever wants to begin can come and choose their items. And Brittany's like, and she gets up first, like, do I have to do all the flowers? I'm releasing hatred, resentment, and these white panties I found on the marital bathroom sink and a baby wipe. No, she says, I'm accepting happiness and just getting back my sparkle. Brittany's got to get back her sparkle, you guys. Janet says, I'm hoping that Brittany can take this time away from Jax and not breathing down her neck all the time to really like work on herself and have a moment to breathe and just get back to her true, lighthearted self. Janet wants her sparkle back as well. And Michelle gets up. She's like, I got to let her releasing to do stress and anxiety and accepting a new life with happiness and love and banging all day with hot honey all over my body. But although Jesse, you can tell Jesse's in like, he's just like really like in a dark place, right? Jesse says, do I want to get up there and throw flowers on the ground and say I want to release any animosity towards Michelle? Jesse says, I'm going to pass. And they're like, no, you should go. You're crying. You should go. He's like tearing up. He's performatively tearing up. Jesse in the talking head goes, look at her face and her just cold as ice. Like, I don't want to do that right now. She wouldn't even take a white flag. Danny's like, come on, Jess, come on. So Jason Caperna, a sport, like a real participation guy, goes up there. He's like, I'll go. Releasing insecurity and accepting confidence. Dude, you already have confidence, dude. You're my dude. Janet says she wants to release anxiety and accept new beginnings. If I got up there, I'd be like, I want to release this big old fart. That's why I don't really hang out with a lot of people. Nia wants to call in peace and love. Danny wants to release pride and accepting joy, he says. Jasmine wants to release fear. Luke says the thing I've been missing in California, accepting that this is my new life. Yeah, like, but that's a tough acceptance there. Like, oh, are you this is my fucking life? These are the people I have to be friends with? No, he says, and I want to bring in family, Luke says, because I feel like that's lacking out here. That's right. We're godless out here, Luke. But he says, you guys are becoming my family. I did not expect to get emotional in this instance, but it's a real thing. So I appreciate all of you guys. This Luke. This Luke. Proud of Luke. And so we're all kind of like laughing. Everybody's getting along. The spiritual's like, if we can stand up now and see what we've created, just take a moment here and look at this beautiful mandala. And we just see a bunch of flowers on the grass, very midsummer. She's like, if anyone feels called to share something that may be coming up for them. And Jason goes, well, there is a person who's missing from the group tonight, and it's a person who co-parents with Brittany. And we could put energy towards him, sticking through with getting help and really doing better for himself and for Brittany and for his kid and for losing his phone. That would be like, can we also put something out to AT&T where they have phone issues for the next 30 days? That would be amazing. But Brittany's like, that was sweet, Jason. I was too scared to say anything because I don't want to ball cry. And then we get sinister music popping up. We see the lights getting darker and darker. We see shots of the valley all of a sudden. And then, it's Blair Witch Project. We see Jax Taylor, like, home recording something at the mental health facility with his Jax's Saloon hat on. Some things never change. He's like, hey, everybody, the first couple days here, I was just very standoffish. I just felt out of my element. I didn't want to be here. I didn't like the people here. I didn't want to hear anybody. Everybody was fat and stupid. I'm getting emotional every day, to be honest. I finally am finding some emotions that I didn't know I had. I hate, the fact that I'm here and she's out there already going down the wrong path, bud. This is about you. I hate that she's out there and I know she's going on trips and things like that. And I just feel like sometimes I feel like a little alone. I feel neglected. I wish she would check in on me more. I know that I've done a lot of damage and I know that she's got to go through her own thing. But I know when we got married, it was in sickness and in health. And right now I'm sick. There's a lot of hurt. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of demons inside me. And I feel like this place is just allowing me to talk about it all. And then he starts crying. I can't keep going like this. It's just killing me. It's killing my wife. It's killing my family. And it's going to destroy my son if I don't get it fixed. That's what he's got to focus on. And when he starts straying down that blaming Brittany path, it is just so... I mean, I just hope that the people at the mental health facility catch this shit, or he's probably too smart to like talk shit about Brittany to them, right? Danny has to leave back to LA because he got a voiceover gig, and then he's going to come back the next day. If anybody's worried about Danny, that's where he's at. But now back, we're not done with the spiritual shit because Luke is like, Kristen and I got this gratitude ball, and it's like a blue ball. He said that we thought would be very helpful if everybody would say something that they're grateful for. If you can recall a memory from the past and just don't give it to your significant other, right? And Zach's like, I'll try not to because Benji isn't there. So Brittany's first, and Brittany says, I am thankful for my son. And he is like the light of my life, and I miss him so much right now. And I'm just super grateful for that, and everybody, obviously, but yeah. And then she gives Jesse the ball. And Jesse actually cracks a little smile. And he's like, I'm in the middle of a very fucking toxic situation right now. And we cut to Michelle. And Michelle is just so stone-faced. And the fact that Isabella is thriving is amazing. And so I'm grateful for that. Um, so yeah. Michelle, he says. And Michelle isn't looking at him at all. In a talking head, she says, it's hard to think of a good memory when somebody has hurt you so much. I mean, that nails it, right? Like it is. It's hard to like, like if somebody keeps pummeling you, it's hard to go back to a time when it was good. And she says, this divorce has been very nasty. And I really got to see his true colors. So Jesse throws Michelle the ball. And then Zach had rolled his eyes when Jesse was giving his little, teary speech. And Jesse clocked it. And Jesse goes, and Zach, don't roll your eyes with Michelle the way you did with me. And Zach, literally looks at him and goes, I didn't roll it with her. It was with you, without hesitating. And Jesse turns to Jason and goes, I will go over there and I'll fucking bury that guy off the cliff. I think he's drunk. I think he meant to say throw that guy off the cliff, but I love that he was already like, I will throw him and also bury him, but he said to bury first. So Michelle has the ball and she's like, let me think for a moment because it's hard to think. It is hard to think, Michelle. I try to do it every day. But she's starting to break too. She's like, it's been a very long time. And she's trying to think of something nice to say, right? And we do a flashback of all these pictures of their relationship, right? And Jesse has his head in his hands. And she goes, okay, a great moment was when we were deciding to have a child together. There you go. You did it. And Jesse's just crying into his hand. And Will is like, that, the spiritual healer is like, that was really good. And Jesse was like, better than mine? What? But Janet's tearing up. Jasmine's tearing up. Jesse's both his head's in both his hands, right? We have this sad music. I see the darkness all around me, trying to find my way out. And Jesse gets up dramatically. He gets up with his drink and walks into the house dramatically, right? My heart, it wanders through the night. The song continues. We follow Jesse through the house. Where's he going? Where is Jesse going? What could he possibly be doing right now? Searching for the stars. Everybody's comforting Michelle. Jesse and a talking head goes, all good things come to an end, right? But it was good at one point. We traveled all over the world. We worked together. There was a lot there. Which, by the way, probably true, right? Anyways, Jason, the nicest guy in the world, goes to check on him. And you guys, it has gotten so dark because this man has changed out of his clothes and all he has on is his gray undies, his diaper undies. And you hear Jesse screaming, she ruined my life. Him and Jax together talking about how these women ruin their lives. Oh my God, they would have boners the whole time. But Jason's like, are you okay, man? And Jesse's like, no, I will drive home right now. So go the fuck downstairs, please. Don't talk to Jason like that. Jason, it's a tough situation. I honestly can't imagine how hard this is to be doing this with your fucking ex-wife, right? And he goes, I am fucking done. Fuck this shit. Get the fuck out. Okay, if we're going to get the fuck out, I will request for you to put on all the clothing. I am in my dumpy gray undies right now. You know he's in a bad place when those dumpy gray undies come out. Next time on The Valley. And we see Michelle talking to Jesse saying, I came here to check for your well-being. You seem perfectly fine. I made a big mistake talking to you. And he goes, did you or did you not cheat? And then literally we see Michelle throw a glass of water, not the glass, but just the water. It's a perfect water throw right in his face. And then we see somebody dancing on Jason, and then Janet saying, Zach, when people ask me about your hair, I say it is a wig, and Zach's laughing, Brittany's laughing, and then Brittany in bed with Zach going, oh my God, Jack said, I have to tell you, they figured out I'm bipolar, not depressed. They figured it out. I can come on the trip now. And then we see Danny going, guess who's back, baby? And they're at wine. They're at a wine tasting. He's like, time to catch up a little bit, have a little fun myself. And then Nia's like, you caught up. And then we see Danny passed out on the bed. And then all of a sudden we see Brittany going, you can't talk about how Danny's drunk, Nia. I'm just like upset and I'm going through so much. My husband's in rehab. And Nia's like, so you have to attack me because you're going through so much? Oh my God. And Brittany's like, oh my God. So that is it, folks. Whoa. I love the tense music they play during the preview for the next episode. It gets you all jittery. What do we think, you guys? Is everybody redeemable here? Are we all going to figure it out? What do we think? Are we excited for episode 5? They've already shot the reunion last week. So who knows? Jax is on his podcast tour right now. I know a lot of dates got canceled, but I think he did one in Boston. If anybody went to that, first off, I will keep your name completely. It'll be completely anonymous. I will not ever say that you actually went. I will not bust you out like that. But if anybody did, I would love to know your experience, okay? Anyways, have a great Thursday, you guys. Come back on Friday for a Summer House recap. And then on Patreon, I'll be doing the Valley After Show, which there's so much good information on there. Oh, my God. Anyways, I love you guys. Thanks for being here. Bye.